Dan, I want to ask you, what do you perceive that God is doing in this season?
I love that question. I don't know. No, yes, I have a perception. Yes, I'm frequently called on. In fact, even later today, to give a talk and an interview about the revival and the need for revival, and the revival among the nations and that kind of thing. And my position on that is I'm not ready right now. I'm not free to call what's happening, what the Spirit of God is doing. I'm not free to call that or identify it as a revival just yet. But I tell you what I perceive. First of all, as Christians, we understand that Jesus deals with people by generation. He's a generational God, and also in seasons. And there's something so critical about recognizing the season you're in. We know from one of the tribes of Israel, Issachar, they were distinct in that they had a capacity to a discernment to understand the times and the seasons, and consequently they knew what they should be doing. And I mean, that's a simple principle. If you understand seasons, like in agriculture, well, you don't do the same thing in every season. There are seasons of sowing and reaping and waiting and watering and harvesting and all that. Well, it's true in the Spirit of God as well. So the way I'm defining and describing what I perceive is this is a season of opportunity. Okay, a season of opportunity. There's a certain protocol in the kingdom that requires that whoever carried the ark, whoever carried the presence, whoever carried the glory previously, always have the first opportunity to take it up again into the future. That explains why Jesus came to the Jews. That was the protocol. The Jews had been entrusted with the oracles of God, so naturally, if something was to be released, something was to be fulfilled, then the protocol required that they have the first opportunity. And so that's why Jesus came to the Jews. He knew full well that they would reject him, but nonetheless, the protocol required him to do that. So he did it. They rejected him. But then he went to Peter and James and John and the fishermen and Matthew and the tax collector and to the sinners. He became friends of sinners, because once those who had been were historically qualified, would say, to take a move of God forward, they get the first opportunity. If they reject that, then they basically stay where they are. Basically, they begin to die. I mean, in terms of any present truth. But then he goes and he finds the hidden ones. He finds folks like many of you. He finds folks like I was so many years ago. I didn't know anything, but I was ready and happy to learn everything. In other words, he's never without a people. So what I perceive, some agree, some don't. What I perceive is there is a fresh moving, a fresh release of the Spirit of God upon not only this nation, but most nations in the world. Now, I'm much more familiar with the work in Brazil. I spent so much of my life there, and it's clear to me there. But in the United States, we need a move of God, and we need a revival, yeah. But a typical revival will not fix America. We need something deeper than a revival. We need a reformation. We need a revelation that goes deep into the hearts of people, that's biblically oriented, and so we need people changed. So what I perceive is this is a season of opportunity. Most of you would be familiar with Matthew's gospel, the 10 virgins, okay? The 10 virgins. The Bible says they were all waiting for the Lord, and when the opportunity came, okay, 5 were wise, and the opportunity came to 10, all of them, but 5 were ready and 5 weren't. And I perceive that same principle today. There are people that are still in the shadows. There are people that still are not clear necessarily on what God is doing, but there's a hunger. There's a hunger working inside of them. What I've learned over the years, and we've been in, Marty and I and our team have been in many moves of God, some national moves, and inevitably what it begins with an increase of hunger in the hearts of people. Okay, all right. So, and I speak to people around around the nations, and I say to them, I ask them, "Are you hungry?" I'll ask you today, and ask David today, Are you hungry? Has your level of spiritual hunger, has it increased? Is it increasing? David?
Yes.
It's increasing.
Yes, sir.
You? Yes? Good. Thank you. See, I can talk into the camera. I know there are people there. I know you're there, you know. Okay. Well, then let's ask a question. You know, why? Why are you hungry? What's different about you? You may be surrounded by satisfied people in your family, in your church, in your school, on your job. And as a matter of fact, you may know many Christians that appear to be happy, satisfied, their life is good, you know, but you're hungry. Well, why? Well, I'll tell you what I believe. I believe that hunger that you're experiencing is a manifestation of God's grace in your life. In other words, let me say it this way. I believe that the hunger, the spiritual hunger you are experiencing, did not originate from you, did not originate with you. I believe it's the call of God. It's the invitation. I believe your hunger is His invitation. No man can come to the Son except the Father draw him.
Yeah.
So the way I interpret a spiritual hunger is the Father is drawing you to Jesus. Come on, somebody.
Yeah, that's
and
good.
all you need to do is respond to your hunger. Well, what does that mean? Well, it means that you may have to come out of a comfortable place. It probably means you will have to take some initiative. You may be asking some different questions. You may find yourself looking in some different directions. But the worst thing would be to not respond at all.
Yeah.
The worst thing would be to just stay closed and locked into whatever it is you're doing, and just being hungry. No. When you're hungry, you go to the table. When you're hungry, you go find food. You know, when you go searching for food. And so what I'm saying is, I believe we're in a season of opportunity, and that many who are satisfied, churches, denominations, individuals, pastors, that have become satisfied, then they can be happy being satisfied. But you're not, and you're not, and you're not content to continue the way you're going, and you're not content to the status quo. You're not content with the same old. You're hungry for something else. And I tell you, friend, I encourage you as strongly as I can just to pursue your hunger. Pursue your hunger. You know, what are you hungry for? Here's the thing. You can be hungry without defining specifically what it is. We use different terms. Well, I'm hungry for what? Well, I'm hungry for more. Okay. Well, more what? You know, I mean, But when you find it, when you taste it, when you experience it, you say, "This is it.
Yeah.
This is it.
Mm.
In other words, that's why you need to do a little searching. That's why you need to knock on a few doors. That's why you maybe need to look around a little bit. Please don't ignore your hunger.
Yeah.
Acknowledge that it is Jesus who has made you hungry, and your hunger is your invitation to come to the table. It's your invitation to pursue Him. And friends, let me say, and I can tell, you can tell, I feel very strongly about this, that there is no human authority on the planet under any title whatsoever, any religious title, that has any divine authority to restrict you or hinder you in any way from pursuing your gifts, your calling, your inheritance, your heritage in God. No human being has any authority to prohibit you, to discourage you from doing that. I'm telling you, friend, it is Jesus who's made you hungry, and Jesus is the one that gives you permission to pursue. I feel like pounding the pulpit. I really feel strongly about this because it's the key to the future.
Yes.
Those who are satisfied are not going to change the future. Those who are satisfied are not going to bring revival. Mm-hmm. Those who are satisfied are not going to leave the comfort zones and the comfort. They're not going to do it because they're satisfied. But friend, you're different. You're hungry. Jesus has made you hungry. Go for it. Go for Him. Do some searching. Ask some questions. If ask around. If God is moving someplace, go there. If there's some spiritual activity and people are being set free and some joy is being distributed and some gifts are flowing and some Spirit of God is moving, hey man, go check it out. And if it's right for you, when you get there and you drink from that well, you'll know. You'll know by the Spirit. You will say, this is that. This is it. This is Jesus. And that's what then can result in a revival, a national revival. But you have to understand that a nation is a nation of people. Mm-hmm. So the whole nation could be in a revival, and you not. Well, if you're not in, then as far as you're concerned, there is no move of God. But when you're in, then there is a move of God. So when enough people respond to their hunger in this nation or any nation of the world, Jesus will visit. There's a scripture in one of my old King James Version Bibles in the margin of a psalm that was obviously very difficult to translate into English, but it says this: "The Lord will visit the earth after He has caused it to desire rain." The Lord will visit the earth after He has caused it to desire rain. So that's another way of saying that a revival is something that the Spirit of God initiates by making people hungry. Why did He make you hungry? Because hunger is one of the things He can respond to. There are things God can respond to, things He doesn't respond to, and things He doesn't respond to very nicely. So, I was shaken by that revelation earlier in my life, and I made an inventory and wrote it in my Bible, an inventory of all of the things that the Bible specifically says God will respond to, and I made a list of those things that He does not respond to favorably, and I figured it out all by myself. Well, if I just do the things that God responds to, then I'll be all right. And if I avoid the things He doesn't respond to, I'll be all right. So what does He respond to? He responds to worship. He responds to hunger. He responds to giving. He responds to generosity. There's a whole list. There's a whole list of things. All of those things you can do and I can do. And one of them is to obey your thirst and obey your hunger.
That's good. Blessed are they who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled.